meets demand, and you can go to your doctor, your clinic, your local hospital, you can go to Walmart, you can go to CVS, you can go to Brookshire to get a vaccine if you want one. So at this time, we no longer believe it's in the county's best interest to continue to use our resources for that. Instead, we need to turn our focus to our traditional areas and take care of what we should do locally. What's the weather going to do for this next week, Tom?
Chance of rain all week. It's warms up, but I see pretty strong.
If you can do something about that, we see we can't help you out with that. Phil, what's going on with World IT?
Last week, we had our training on our cloud-based phone system, which I'm training for AT&T. So that's the one that went through that training last week. We have a technician, or probably one of the technicians, coming out tomorrow. And next week, we're going to meet at all the county locations that are going to be hooked up on the new building out the new network. So we should be able to get the static IP addresses from them and just kind of go over all the requirements to get that turned up and turned on. So,
Okay. Sounds like you're pretty busy then. So you got a new employee, you're welcome for full-time position, a whole employee in a new position.
Yes, I wanted to congratulate Melissa Barnes. She's our new network administrator. She's a quick study. I really enjoy having her on board. She's a great person, great asset to have on my team.
Good deal. Thank you for that. Sheriff, what's happening in your part of the world today?
We're trying to do the children area, who's 38 years of experience. It's wonderful on campus.
Look forward to meeting him, and I hope it promises good things. I know talking with the chief about it, it looks like it's going to be a real addition to your force down there. Should be good.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Commissioner Montgomery, what's going on precinct 1?
Well, yesterday was the last day. Of course, we think we got everything cleaned up from the tornado. The tornado came through. Too wet to grade, too wet to do anything else, so we've been cleaning up the tornado. Hopefully we'll get back on it. Road building after these showers get out of here. We're behind and short-handed, and
Lovely.
just working as hard as we can, but you know, we do appreciate the rain. I'm very thankful for the rain. I like that list of roads. I do things.
I understand. Commissioner Crawford, what's going on precinct 2?
Been trying to do some shredding, still replacing some culverts, still hauling rock, and same thing.
Trucking. Commissioner's got all that was on precinct 3.
We got our bridge fixed on the 326, not over yet, but the bridge is built. So the weather dries up, we also 30, get that completed, and started digging the beams on the new building. We've got the baskets put together, the rebar baskets that go into the beams, so those weather kind of building up this week as well. Hopefully it dries up, we get back to that.
Don't worry, I got that week to grind up rough. Always does.
Other than that, we're just hauling rock, trying to pack mud holes back all the way to the brush cutter money. Really good shape.
Good deal. Commissioner Lake, what's going on precinct 4?
We're hauling rock today and get everything back to where it was before Monday's a week ago. I mean, we lost stuff from the week before on Monday that we didn't pass, but the week before that came out. So we did good. So I've been using a lot of those.
A lot of oversight, John, hold the road together. Well, you want to tell us about the architects and where we're at on that? We're going to do that for you. All right. Well, I'll give you kind of construction update. We've got some projects going on. Most major construction down support services building. We have a bid now from the folks at Southwest Violent Solutions. I believe it's been known to me. I'm bringing that to y'all at the next commissioner report for approval. That's in regards to putting the last of the shelving up and fencing around the VA's records. Move those over there. Move back over to the Franklin Street Annex. I have 2 bids in. Second bid is not complete yet regarding that next section in front of what's now the tax office. It's still open to weather that we need to do. As soon as I've got some more information on the doors, hold up this and that, I'll bring that to you guys because we do need to seal that up. I wish we had it sealed up right now with weather. Moving on to this building, obviously, if you've been looking around this morning, you see there's some changes in the last week. These folks are not playing around at basic ID. They're moving along quickly. So we've hung about 60% of the sheetrock so far. There's doing some taking and floating in some areas. The noise you hear directly above us was that huge scaffolding. I encourage you all to go up and look at that. They put that up yesterday morning. They showed up and put that up in the morning. So they started with the spray foam operations in the 4th floor yesterday, and they're taking these 10 ceiling tiles out of the district courtroom to get behind those and access. It's only about this deep between the roof line and the ceiling tiles. So they'll have to remove some of the ceiling tiles. We have some spare sample ceiling tile in here. We believe we're going to have to replace some of those. That condensation on the roof has been kind of rough over the years. There was no insulation before the floor. Our hope is to put the building back in better shape than we found it. We've completed some flooring jobs in my office and over in the county clerk's office. We found subfloor issues that we had to tackle that weren't anticipated, so that cost on the jobs. But we had those subfloor issues tackled at the time we put it, so we're moving along there. You'll see that in the basement, they have some sheetrock up, but there's still the chill water pipes that they go through the old elections office, the common room, the cafeteria area back across the hallway into the fence. The reason that's open and it's not the sheetrock yet is the insulation on the chill water line is completely soaked. It's not drying out. We asked the other company to take it out. They had not, so we're now taking it out and replace all that. As it stands with no R value, you can hear definitely notice noise operation from the chill water system. Courthouse. Going to Covington Street and some other design for this, we have been talking with the architects. We had some conversations back by email yesterday and last week regarding layouts. We had a good productive meeting with the county court of law, with the county attorney and his staff. We've met with several other people regarding the layout of this building, and there's still some minor changes we make here and there. Last Friday, I met with the surveyor for the engineer that was out at the fairground where the Agri-Life Extension Building proposal is going to go and how that's going to be situated. So we don't have anything final at this time, but they're taking these proposals and continue to make questions back and forth. So we're going to have a new design plan for the parking lot while we're at it. We've got a few other odds and ends underway on construction, but at this time it's kind of general overview. So this week I'll be out of pocket after this. I have to go to a probate conference and get some continuing legal education on that. So if you need me, catch me by email or cell phone for the rest of the week. Outside of that, it's been busy and it's going to continue to be busy. We've come out of COVID, we're seeing the economy revive, things are picking up pretty quickly. That's a good sign for us. But again, things have been growing for some time here. We're seeing a lot of construction, a lot of houses, a lot of folks moving in. We still don't have census numbers to our level. We really expect to have that until probably September this year, in all honesty. So we'll pay attention to it. The other big thing on our plate is we have just a few days left until sine die, or close the Texas legislative session. There's some good bills, plenty of bad bills, and plenty of bad bills that have been killed already come back to life. Good bill. So if you were paying attention to those, please reach out to both your representative, your state senator, who both very receptive to taking our phone calls, talking to us, and working with us when we have concerns on said bills. So that's kind of my short report for this morning. Does any other elected official or appointed official got anything they need to tell us? If not, I'm going to move on into open forum. This is your opportunity to address the court. There's a matter that's on the agenda today that's not on the agenda today, but that you'd like to talk to us about. If you would, please limit your comments to about 3 minutes in duration. We respect you, please show respect to the court. So this time I'll open the floor to open forum. Is everybody here for windmills? Well, I know you're here for game ordinance. So, all right, I got that one. Okay, nobody shy. All right, we'll go ahead and go on the agenda. So at this time, let's move into our consent agenda. We'll have actions on minutes of April 27th, action on invoices of May 4th and May 11th, action on payroll of April 28th and May 7th, and action on monthly disbursement. You'll find these documents were an email sent to you by the treasurer's office. I have hard copies that I printed out. If you have questions about any of these, please let me know, and we will consider them individually for discussion. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion. Second. Motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the consent agenda? You can just take them, Pastor. It's easier to do it that way. That way you're going to have to down there. All right. call vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion should carry. Number one on our court orders today is discussing and approving employees' wage status changes. We have a number of them today. Go as quickly as we can here. We have Mr. Robert White in the sheriff's office. Intermediate certified now. Mrs. Stoll, we talked about that previously in court, taking on new job duties. Hey, Lieutenant Neville, congratulations. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the promotion, well deserved. Mr. Mark Peach from the IT office is separated from his employment. Mrs. Barnes is taking a full-time position as network administrator in IT. Welcome aboard, Mrs. Barnes. Brianna Garner is a new hire in the sheriff's office. We have John Campbell is our new jail administrator in the sheriff's office. Zach Spagner has tendered his voluntary resignation. So since there was no notice given, he's not eligible for rehire at this time. Chris Jackson is moving out with some specialized skills. I think that we're getting people real training. Again, same thing for Joshua Scholes. Robert Young has been in the sheriff's office for a year and he's taking a step raise. Karen Redmond's been a 3-year anniversary now. Doesn't seem like that long. So Zachary Bound is again finished with his field training. That's wonderful. I figured you would work better than this. Carlos Carrillo is again got that deal out of the way. And that, those I should say are the employee payroll wage changes for the state.
Make a motion for
Second. A motion is second. Any discussion on that? All the new hires are welcome to the Hill County family. If there's no other discussion on it, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Right. Number two, discussion on action on salvage surplus property for Hill County. I don't have a list today. I thought we'll keep this on as an ongoing agenda item since we're in the process of cleaning out Covington Street. So I talked with Ms. Lincoln. You're going to have a list in the next court. If you have in your office and your elected official, you have junk, you have stuff that you don't need, do not let it pile up. You're not the home for unwanted IT equipment. You're not the home for old desks. I know we've given that impression. We need to get these things to somewhere else. We need to go. So, all right, I get off the soapbox and move on to number 4, maybe no action on number 3 either, which is discussion action on credit application for Huber Glass Oil Company. We went out for bids, but we didn't go out for bid for fluid, diesel exhaust fluid. And we have found a cheaper place to buy diesel exhaust fluid. It's like $400 a tote cheaper.
Right at 4.
Right, it's right $400 a tote cheaper. So in order to do business with Huber Glass Oil Company to buy nothing more than diesel exhaust fluid, we have to have a credit application.
There's more than 70 states.
They're delivering.
They're delivering what Napa was ordering and charging us $800 and something dollars and we can buy it for directly from them.
All right,
And it's the same stuff. It's all Napa did the rate, which is $400 pass through.
Make a motion, second. Any further discussion on this item? I mean, kind of self-explanatory, and this would be safe for $1. Okay, in which case I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry unanimously. Number 5, discuss interaction regarding insured business associate contract renewal. This is for our health insurance. I'm asking you to postpone this today. I have reached out to another insurer to provide us a competing proposal just to see where our bang for the buck is. We've got to really need to do this, so I'd ask that we don't take any action on this item today. We pass it to our next regular agenda and we'll take action at that time. Uses DEF now, doesn't it? I mean, trucks, motor graders, tractors, no money. Number 6, discuss and approve residential, non-residential contracts and interagency agreements. Chief Lincoln, what do you have for us this morning now?
I'm going to be very brief this morning, which is going to probably be shocking to you guys. Thank you for having me this morning. I'll be back in a couple of weeks and it will be brief. So, this is just the opportunity that we reviewed contracts that we use for services for our juvenile. David has outlined our new contract. It's a new facility that we're contracting with, but it's specific to sex offender treatment, which is definitely, unfortunately, one of the services we need for residential care. And so I'm just asking for approval for that contract.
Okay, we've not had a chance to review it yet, though?
It should be in your packet, yes.
That's
David, yes, you
No,
did.
you did, okay, I
Yes, sir.
misunderstood what I was hearing.
Yes.
We're good then. Hey, while we're on the subject, before we move on this, question, I know that, detention costs have been astronomical this last year.
Yes,
And I know that's not what you're here for really today, but it's in accordance with, we're seeing these residential contracts because we have more need for these placements, these type of offenders. Today, our budget on residential placement is kind of just toast at this point.
yeah, we have exceeded $80,000 this fiscal year alone. I've actually compiled a report that you guys requested earlier in the year so that you could really see not only just the cost, because I think, when we look at just the cost of detention, I think you really need to see why we're detaining and what those offenses are. So I've created a list that I'm going to provide to you guys and kind of give you a summation of that. I'm really working very hard not to come back to the court to ask for additional funds this year. One of the things that was an advantage for us at the beginning of this year is I carried over $32,000 in my Hill County fund, so that has helped absorb a lot of costs. So we're going to be nickel and diming it through the rest of the fiscal year, but working really hard to not burden the county any more than necessary. And so I'm going to be bringing that report, and again, really giving you guys the opportunity. I think one of the things I want to highlight is 2 of those cases that we've had, and David could talk to this as well, is we committed 2 youth to TJJD, but we had to keep them in detention for 60+ days thereafter because TJJD put a hold on all of their admissions. And so that was like $25,000 almost in total of what we ended up spending, which would not have normally been within our budget. And then if you look at that summary sheet, and I'll provide that whenever I do the presentation, only 2 kids on that entire list are misdemeanor offenders. All the rest of them are felony offenders. So it really shows just what's going on in the community, unfortunately, and just the need that we have for detention as well as residential services.
Thank you.
So I was gonna be quick.
Well, that's my fault. I wanted
No,
to hear that because it's going to be an issue during budget time we're going to have to address. Our financial needs to detain juvenile offenders have risen as our population rises, as more people show up, more problems show up sometimes. And that's something I just want you guys to have heads up on as we go into it, so you're not surprised when I ask for an increase in the detention amount, detention line item. So just to put them out there. All right, well, go back to the matter at hand then is for the Collin County John R. Roach non-residential contract. Any further discussion on that? Any questions for Chief Lincoln regarding this? All right, thank you for finding this because I know this is a need we've had. And commissioners, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself this morning. I apologize. I guess I made the motion and what he's telling me. I moved, he seconds. Now I'll call a vote. I'm sorry.
Just so y'all know, this contract is kind of specific to one particular child. And we had him placed at a facility that we've always had really good luck with. We actually had him placed through CPS. It was on CPS's dime, not ours. But he was unsuccessfully discharged. He's a kid that did not need to be in the community at this time. He's got some mental health issues.
Gotcha.
And so we're just trying to find an alternative placement.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Bill. I'll call the question now. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. I don't have a place to sign this, so I'm just going to pass that straight to you.
This is record.
All right, good deal. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. 7, observe and record Hill County Emergency Service District Number 2 financial statements for the year ending September 30, 2020. What I have in front of me is another successful audit by ESD number 2 that has no material findings, which means good things for these folks. They have done another good job of managing taxpayer funds entrusted to them, and I'm asking you gentlemen to observe and record this document so that if the public wants to see it, it's in the clerk's record. Motion and second to observe and record. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. Number 8 is observe and record the Hill County Child Protective Services Board Treasurer's Report for April 2021. Again, as a matter of public record, the county supports a child welfare board, better known as the Hill County Child Protective Services Board. The treasurer reports that they have total assets of $73,898.54, took in donations of $1,000 for the month ending April 21, and had a clothing allowance expense of $18,900, which is a pretty considerable clothing allowance for 1 month. I don't have any clarification on that. I'm sure that they'll let us know if there's an issue. So the total expenses after operations, mailing, postage, and Rainbow Room, which as you well know, they maintain on county property, is something we're designing in the new Covington Street Annex, so that in the middle of the night, children have to be removed from their homes. If there's, sometimes they leave nothing to clothes their back. So these folks support those missions, keep those children in clothing, and to get them luggage and things to try to make life seem somewhat more. So anyway, that is the Hill County CPS Child Protective Services Board Treasurer's Report for April 2021.
Make the motion for it.
I have a motion and a second to observe and record, sir, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, observe and record. Okay, so your second stands. So motion to observe and record. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Number 9 is discuss and approve bank balance reports.
We don't have this.
Okay, so we're gonna move along then. Number 10, observe and record again, Prairie Land Groundwater Conservation District.
They asked that you be put on next, next
Okay.
report because they cannot be here today.
Okay, well, gentlemen, any reason? Okay, well, we'll just move along into the next commissioner's report. I'll make this quicker. Number 11, discuss and take action on the purchase of commercial shredder. So as part of our building and records management building, we're getting a handle on what we've got. We've got a lot of stuff. Some of it's just flat junk. So we need to talk about doing our shredding in-house. And to do that, you can't just go down to Walmart or Office Depot and buy a business supply by yourself shredder. So Mrs. Eubank has gone out and done some research for us, and we've looked at some of the options. And these are all industrial commercial shredders. If you look, they have a number like 60 sheet, strip cut, 50 sheet, 47, obviously means what you can feed into it at one given time. I know that the difference between 50 and 60 may speed up 10 pages, but it's $1,000. None of this stuff is cheap, but it is something that we'll get use out of in the long run. It's the same way that we bought a shredder for the hard drives to protect the documents that we're entrusted with, to make sure when they leave here, there's no chance that they can be used for some illicit purpose. So again, an expense that we're not anticipating, but we have the opportunity to correct a years-old problem. I would like to see us try to take some action, correct it. Part of that being procuring one of these.
I move we take the 60 sheet.
Okay, motion and second to take the 60 sheet strip cut shredder. I will communicate that, and we will buy that. I guess I don't.
This is a purchase and not a lease.
This would be a purchase, yes, sir. Purchase. It's a pretty sizable unit too. So down at the Waco Street Support Services building, and what that room? I don't know what that room used to be.
What's the dimensions, Judge? If it's a good size, is it larger than 36 inches wide?
She said,
It would fit in the doors.
she said it would.
Oh, that's what we were told. Yeah.
We ran into that a lot with those small doors.
I understand. Yeah, Marshall representative will fit into the door. So
I think it was the
kitchen, I think it was a kitchen there at one time. But anyway, that's going to be the area when your boxes go out of date. You know, we have a uniform labeling system now we're applying to most of the, not all, but most of the records in there. And there's a, you know, what it is, permanent, is it something, so it gets a P on it, you know. Is it going to be something that's destroyed? If so, here's the date, here's the time that this box needs to be taken out of service and gotten rid of. So those documents, once they get ready to be destroyed, they'll be taken into that kitchen area where the shredder is. We'll shred on that and have designated the times when we get those things done.
Can other departments use the shredder?
Yes. We'll also have to put a log in the shredder so we know what we destroyed at what date and what, you know, use basic record keeping. Not too terrible.
There'll probably be a full-time person to keep up with all.
I can see at some point we're going to have to. I mean, at some point with all the records, once we get everything into one roof, it's going to be a challenge keeping all that organized and sorted out. So, all right. Well, that's the motion in the second. Is there any further discussion on it? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. The auditor has asked us to move the auditor's annual report to our next one, so we have time to discuss it. Number 13, discuss and approve to adopt Hill County game room regulations. We have before us published in the paper 2 times, but today we are holding a public hearing. regarding, I'll read the thing. Notice of public hearing, Will County Commissioners Court will hold a public hearing to receive comment from interested members of the public on its proposed ordinance imposing local regulations on game rooms. The proposed game room ordinance regulation can be viewed at the county's website at co.gil.tx.us. And the public hearing will take place at the Commissioners Court regular meeting today, May 11, 2021, 8:30 a.m., which is the time we started this meeting, in the county courtroom over at the first floor of the county courthouse in Hillsborough, Texas. So anybody here today to speak regarding game room regulations? Yes, sir. If you would come on up, state your name for the record, and give us your 10 cents.
Larry Farmer, Whitney, Texas. Honorable Judge of the Commissioners Court. I've had the pleasure of visiting several of these area game rooms. I've had problems with a couple. I worked for the game room in Peoria for a short time, which we had an incident there that and now someone from Corsicana who owned the game room stated that they had their wallet stolen when he put the wallet in his pocket. Sheriff's Department had to come out and make a report on it. There was a big fiasco about it. Another incident happened about 6-8 weeks ago at Four Seasons, in which a woman brought in an infant child who either had to be a grandbaby or something. But I know what the provisions state as far as the state law says, that no one under the age of 21, and it doesn't say 21 days, it doesn't say 21 months, that means the age of 21. And then we're talking about an infant child that could not have been more than probably 2 months old. In a smoking establishment, Four Seasons has a game room and a bar at this end, and they have a bar and a restaurant at the other end, some 10 to 15 yards apart. And when I talked to TABC, they turned around and told me that Mike was under a blue label provision, that both of those are actually combined somehow or way or another, but that really there was nothing that their hands were tied. Well, when I called the Sheriff's Department to turn around and report it, just letting you know, right up front, I have a dispatcher who is not a certified peace officer, who has no control over reading these books, the Code of Criminal Procedure, turn around and tell me it was not against the law. That's wrong. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with several of the game rooms that have been checked out by several agencies, including the Sheriff's Department and other agencies. And we know the one that was in Whitney got closed down for selling drug stuff. But we've already had one incident out at Sweet Peas where they were busted there and nothing was done about it. A week later, they got more games in there when somebody stated that they would not be allowed. So, you know, I haven't had a problem at Lucky Star, nor have I had a problem at Double T's. I mean, they've just been as cordial as they could be, but the other outlying agencies, you know, there's been problems, and when you say something about it, you know, somebody tells you what they think the law is. And unless a dispatcher is turned into a certified peace officer, she can't tell me squat after 14 years of experience having to deal with stuff like this. And, you know, not that I want things to go away, but where I'm from Waco, they clean that up. They run them all out. They've taken them all out to the convenience stores. And I think it's not actually the owners as much as it is the people that lease that equipment. They should be in here and they should be talking to the Commissioner's Court about all the things that takes place because they help run that joint. They're responsible also. And, you know, you got 2 places out of 5 or 6 that are doing really good. And the rest of them are just, you know. So, you know, I came to speak for Double T because, like I said, she and I know each other, haven't had any problems there. But when I've gone to, like I said, 4 Seasons, and I called about that because I was concerned because the child was in the smoking area, that should not have happened either. So I asked Commissioner's Court and Judge Lewis to strongly look at this before granting any permits, because I think not that the 2 that I'm speaking great about, but the other agencies should have to turn around, the owners should have to hop through hoops in order to get this, because in November, we come up for a general election concerning casinos and stuff like that. And they're gonna fall under the same provision as those casinos are. And not only do we hit them here as far as, you know, what Hill County's laws are, because the state of Texas says it's up to the counties to regulate government. My concern is though that we've got some that's gonna do it, some that don't. And then when you turn around and talk to people and say, you know, you can't do this, it's against the law, this, that, and the other, and somebody telling you, regardless that, you know, whatever it is, there's not a reason for you to call in for it. I got a problem. Next time it happens, I'm gonna pick up the phone and call DHS and tell them to come out there because there's a clear violation. And you're exposing a child to a smoke environment in which secondhand smoke is being intaked by the child, and it's not healthy, nor is it healthy for the operators of these game rooms. So, like I said, Double T and Monica Helms, who owns the Lucky Star, they've been the only 2 that I've seen that there haven't been any problems.
Are you aware of any of these places that you patronize paying cash?
Not really. I mean,
What type of process do they do?
well, I mean, some of them are cash donations, but I mean, when you start out, you're donating to the cause. Like the Whitney Fire Department gets a cut from 4 Seasons. I don't know about the other ones, because I've seen on some of the machines, it doesn't say anything about Hill County stuff, it says some other county, which that falls under the operators that lease that equipment.
But when you go to a machine and play, let's say you win, you take your, I don't know, if it gives you a printout, whatever is evidence of your win.
It shows up on a monitor. All the game systems are on different set situations. You know, you may have one that they have one called Blue Diamond Mike's. Finer things. Then they have the train. Then they have, you know, Firestorm, and all these different ones that we don't regularly see. They have those in Las Vegas and over at Louisiana. But I can tell you that I know the joke. I'm past my 3 minutes.
Don't worry about that.
My question is, when
How are you
are
compensating?
you getting cash or are you getting?
Yeah.
You're getting cash. And
Yeah.
you're aware of that.
And I've hit pretty good at a couple of places, some over $1,100. But the problem is that they don't pay you out that type of money. They only give you half of it,
Right.
or $500. Up to $600 is what you can get, $599. And
So they don't have to do
right. But the thing about it is with as much money as people spend, the agencies that benefit from this get a lot of money. And like I said,
But that doesn't make it, interesting.
I understand that, but, you know, how are you gonna turn around and not compensate somebody back for their donation to a particular,
Mr. Farmer, because the law doesn't allow for it at all. What
Well-
you're admitting to is a crime here, and it's being reported. You're aware of that, right?
who's gonna bust me?
The law and the guilty county, that's it.
Right, I
All right,
understand.
so I advise you, we don't have an attorney present, I advise you, that you have a right to remain silent at this point. You're making self-incriminating statements in the open court of law. You probably need to sit down at this point for your own good.
Well, but
If you persist, even more.
right. I want to make sure that everybody understands that when you call and there's a problem, you don't get the response that you should get.
We're gonna fix that. I understand what you're telling me. I hear you loud and clear on that. That is a training issue. We're getting it fixed.
So that's primarily what it is. I wanted to.
Thank you
Really
very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
Is there anybody else who wants to get up and speak to this subject? Thank you for your comments, Mr. Farmer. Go ahead. Give the name for the record, please.
My name is Mike Salas.
Mr. Salas, thank you. Go ahead.
Start out with, I'm not a lawyer, so that should give us some advantage point. I own Four Seasons restaurant he's talking about. I think he's a disgruntled person, player, he's an ex-officer, so he has nothing positive to say about him. Our restaurant, Four Seasons restaurant, we have a little place you can get a margarita with enchiladas, and we have a game room. To answer his question, it does pay cash. The way it's structured is that the gaming people, they come over here and they say sweepstakes are legal to distribute cash. If you do a donation where the customer gives you $5 to donate, and then when you pay it out, you're not paying cash, you're redeeming the prize, which is $20 if they win. So he already purged himself by saying he doesn't get cash, because we do pay cash up to $500 a day. Okay. In regard to the tax evasion, which is a very important point. I'm a computer network engineer. I graduated from college 1993 as a computer guy. That's what I do for a living. I own a computer business. That's what got me into the game business. The games are ran on a server, okay? So anytime somebody comes in and gives you $5, their name is put in the computer, the driver's license is put in the computer, and you're giving an ID number, okay? Could be the last 4 of your social security, could be your birthday, whatever you want to do. So now you go play, you win $20. Your computer, your server, keeps up with the dollars in and the dollars out. Every quarter, every 3 months, I do my 941 for my employees. I do, the payroll taxes for my employees. I do my IRS 941. I report everything to the state controller every month. So we're paying taxes on the money in and to the state control. So
Are you issuing 1099 to the player?
no, because it's less than $500.
But he said if he wins $1,100,
You go tomorrow, get another $500, and you go the next day and get $500. And this is the way it's explained to us from the people. Okay, all right, so that's, I'm telling you, that's exactly how it is. You don't have to have an investigation on certain matter, but that's the way it works.
We have limited ability to regulate it, and we have a duty to regulate for health and safety. I'm gonna let everybody speak. I'm gonna tell you what we've got going on. So I didn't start off, because everybody had an opportunity to review these rules. They've been out for months now. Okay, so you'll see what we're doing is no different than what many other times. We're not going off the deep end here. We're not banning these machines. We're simply putting a regulatory ability over it. Because as everybody's heard, I think everybody agrees, there are some bad actors. Not everybody in this field is bad actors, they're bad lawyers, that's a fact. But there's bad actors that run these things too. And we're trying to give the county the ability to regulate bad actors. That means we're gonna get some good people in the process in our regulatory scheme. That's just the way it works. So, and I'm gonna apologize for it. Our goal is to make sure that we have people doing things in legal fashion in Hill County, and that it contributes to a positive atmosphere of life for us. So that's the reason behind this. It's just they were fun. We'll go ahead and open the floor to the next person. Who's that? Come on up. Take a shot. Don't fight.
I just have questions on the rules, is how steadfast they're going to be.
Okay.
We want to make sure our game rules are up to police.
You identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anthony Arlotta, game room in Rio Vista.
Okay.
We're already following everything, trying to get everything, make sure when the fireman comes out, fire marshal comes out, everything's compliant. We want to make sure all that. Basically, I want to know if the times that are in here, if those are official starting July 1st. If y'all want, like, I know for 8-liners, the comptroller requires a sticker on every machine that is in an establishment. Is now, since these are like computers and they're not individual coin operated machines, if y'all want us to, I'm licensed with the state already as a game operator. If you don't mind doing that, y'all tell us. I just want to make sure. Do y'all want a sticker on the screen? Do you want it on the hard drive? Or have y'all decided yet?
That's a good question. We've not actually decided yet in regards to that. As an enforcement, I'm going to ask your opinion of this as well. Other counties that have done this regulatory scheme, how are they going about that?
I haven't seen any yet doing it with sweepstakes. I went in, I haven't seen anything on the screens. And it's not, I'm not obligated to get into the hard drives that are kind of tucked away.
Gotcha.
Comptroller requires them to be seen without turning over the machine upside down or whatever, it's supposed to be plain sight. So.
Yeah, well, if it's done, I'm curious to have that article. Putting a sticker on the screen, you are just making sure that is that going to be an issue that will block what they're attempting to do?
In a sense, yes, sir, and it would. So we don't know if we can, if we have to somehow, everything's in a station, we can put it above the station, the stuff doesn't move, it's still visible to everybody. We can cut it, cover the plexiglass so people can't peel them off. Tons of different things we can do, but
I'm open to that concept for sure. That's something we need to have a conversation about on that particular point. I think you're bringing it up with us.
Okay.
The reason we have these public hearings. Go ahead.
Anyway, we've been there for quite a while. The hours of operation here are 10 to 10. Is that steadfast? Is that going to change? Is anybody? Because right now during the week they stay open to 12. On the weekends, Friday and Saturday they stay open to 2. Right now, according to this, it's supposed to change from 10 to 10. Point blank.
Give us your argument.
Huh?
We're open.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know that I didn't know if since these ordinances, they come into effect July 1st, I didn't know if they would, if we could stay open within the rules of like restaurant hours, which is like 11 or 12 during the week, 12 and 2 on the weekends. That's what we do. But I just want to make sure we're in compliance with everything. I know the applications are supposed to come out to July 1st. And here it says if we've been open, it gives us 30 days to get compliant. If are the fire marshals and everybody going to be able to get out to these places in 30 days to make sure we are compliant?
We're going to have to make a conceded effort to make sure that happens.
Okay.
That's on us to make sure that happens.
Okay.
We intend to enforce these orders for sure. But yeah, that short time period will be something I think we can handle in-house.
I went and spoke to the sheriff's office, and they, of course, they don't have any applications yet, or none that are legalized. Do you suspect they will be online, or do we need to? Because she was like the lady I spoke with, not her fault, but she didn't have any idea.
I suspect they'll both be online and do a physical location to pick up. We do so much online nowadays. We try to make it available public.
Okay. Other than that's a big thing. I just want to make sure about the stickers.
Well, stickers question we've not heard yet. We're taking application questions, things like that, but that is a good question in regards to the stickers. As a proposal, so the comptroller it has to be in plain sight of the comptroller's rules for machines. where is an alternate location besides trying to put it on the actual physical screen itself?
Probably just every screen has a station. I would say, you know, and some of them are blocked off. I'd say put it on the wall above each screen. That way it keeps people from grabbing at it, picking at it, trying to take it off. You know, we can put it in between two pieces of plexiglass, screw it to the, and actually screw it to the wall. You know, and it's really pretty simple. It's got the dates on them, on the stickers. So, I mean, if they go in and say, hey, we've got 46 machines and, you know, and there's 46 stickers that are legal, I mean, I would say we're pretty much fine, at least with the comptroller. So, you know, if something happens, you know, 'cause sometimes on the screen, it's just like a computer screen, it may go out. So you got to replace it. And once they pull the sticker off, you can't pull it back on. So that's another kind of bad thing about putting them on the screen. Put them on the hard drive is one option, but these guys they got a lot of work. They're underneath tables, they're behind stuff so people don't mess with them. Comptroller probably doesn't want to go in there and take screws and boards off. So
That is a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate you.
other than that, that's all. Just wanted to check on the hours of operation. Like I said, that's if it is going to be 10 to 10, or if that's you think they're making a change, or
That's the proposal at the moment, though, so we can hold a public hearing to hear if there's a proposed change to those hours. Or that, you know, I don't think that I'm good for past midnight by any means, I'll be honest about that.
Okay.
I know this, looking at our call reports and history where we see things happen in the sheriff's office, not particularly your facility, but a lot of other places, is what we're shooting for. And but we see what's called authorized later at night, it gets, unfortunately.
You right. Okay.
So, all right, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Anybody else to speak on the subject? I don't want to dissuade anybody from speaking. Come on up. You got something to say about it?
I'm glad he said something about the hours. I'm Chris Winford.
Thanks, Chris. How you doing?
I'm good. The hours, that is my main.
Okay.
I live 2 doors down. I don't know what the residential area is considered. I know they're supposed to be so far away
Okay.
from schools, residents, blah, 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 residential areas. I feel like where I live, there's just a row of houses. It should be residential. There's a game room in the middle of it, and they already works 1 by 4. We all know that. The 10 o'clock is great because that's my kids go to bed. If they don't, it's midnight all week long, partying, drugs, ambulances, cops. It's every single night of the week. So I know you're not gonna shut them down, but the earlier the better. It's just for the kids anyway.
Appreciate it, Mr. Swindle. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? I'll give everybody just a second to roll around in their head if they say anything.
If I could just say one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
In regard to time, there was also some stipulation in there about the quantity of workstations, what I call workstations, because they're computers with a monitor.
Correct.
And the computers go underneath the counter right here. And the other counties, what they do, they put the computer on, they put the sticker on the computer itself. Okay, so if an establishment goes and gets a permit for 50 computers, okay, they get 50 stickers.
Correct.
That's what's in your proposal right now, 50. We have 100.
Oh, wow, okay.
The restaurant is on one end and it's an old shopping center.
I know where you got over there off 22, South 22.
Yes, sir. And my wife runs the restaurant. And so I had all this empty space, and so I just cleaned it out, and me being a computer guy, I installed these computers, and they're different environments. So you got a smoking that has practically 45 computers in it, non-smoking, smoking. Okay, so that's smoking and non-smoking. Mr. Farmer mentioned that he went in there was an empty. Well, right now with the restaurant code, that's where you have to go and pick up your food to order. Okay, so we don't allow children in the game room to just sit there. Okay, so nonetheless, if there's a grandfather clause,
There's not one in there that's proposed right now. No, sir.
I make a motion to add it. In a second. Okay, and then if there is a grandfather clause, and we put that on our permit, I think anybody that asks for the grandfather clause should be subject to present all their tax forms. And mine are readily available because I have a TABC license and I have to keep up with all my taxes, so.
On the number.
Yeah,
I think you did.
you,
I thought 50 was the one.
so you thought it was too high. Yeah, we had a lot of argument, 50 was way too high, but 50 was compromising. Yeah, really, I appreciate it. So, yeah, 50 is the number we're sticking with. Unless one of you proposes something. Anything further? Mr. Chairman? Come on, we're not gonna go tip the tap.
No,
here.
We're
Okay,
not
good.
going to that, but
Point that out.
let me explain, there's a difference in the game rooms and the 8-liners. The majority of the 8-liners are inconvenienced. They're not here, so they don't have to answer to anybody because they get their tags from the state of Texas and they just slap them on it.
With less than 6 machines, we can't regulate, so.
Right, but I'm saying that, you know, on some of these, you've got more than 8-liner. You're paying up to $1.50 to spin, or even as much as $5 to spin, depending on how bad you want to play that amount. But I think that a concern here should be, you know, people with kids coming in, the drug sales, drug paraphernalia, anything that's found on the complex. Not that I'm knocking Mike's place, I'm just saying that there is no need for your grandchild, who's an infant, sitting in a car seat in the middle of the smoking game room.
We're on agreement there. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Appreciate that. Anybody else in the commentary on this before we wrap up the public hearing?
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Vaughn.
On the distance
You
on
can't see the merits, but you might not get it from the time.
One of them mentioned something about the grandfather clause, and I don't know what all that's going to think. Is it, according to that, I understand that the only thing that is going to go fall under is the district ordinance. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then that's the deal, is we don't have the ability to regulate a lot of things in unincorporated areas. Wentworth brought a residential area. We don't have zoning in incorporated parts of the county. Okay. So, you know, new state law, let's say your facility has to be 100,000 feet from church. Well, that was state law. I can't touch that with a football. That's all there is to that. If you have to be 1,000 feet from a daycare facility or a school or whatever the rules may be on this, that's not something anything the county does can modify. So any rule we're putting in is a restatement of state law because we are a political subdivision of state tax.
Okay. Thank you.
I think to answer your question, in terms of being grandfathered, what that means is if your permitted establishment and a church or school is built
Next year.
2,500.
Then they can't move.
You were there first. Yeah, you're first in time, yes.
Okay.
To start out, if you're within 2,500 feet of a neighborhood or a church or a school, you're gonna have to move your steps.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Is it a neighborhood? Because here's a question that I'm glad you brought that up. Because there may be a 100-acre farm. There may be one house. That house is residential.
Not an estate.
So that won't count, right? It's a neighborhood. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Anything further?
Yes, you're not.
Mr. Most, I'm the captain, please do this.
Gentlemen, our main concern is the types of patrons that go to these businesses. On multiple occasions, we have deputies that go out to these businesses. There's narcotics involved, warrants. There's, not all patrons that go there are bad by any means, but a lot of them are. Recently, we had a deputy that went in to serve a felony warrant and was assaulted by one of the patrons. And it seems like more and more these people are frequenting these businesses. So definitely, in our opinion, we definitely want the 10 to 10 time frame, as we know that criminal activity usually comes out at night. And it's just a big concern for us. I hate it for the law-abiding citizens that do want to go to these businesses, but at the same time, we have to look out for the safety of not only our community, but our deputies as well.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You got just a minute. I want to follow up just a little bit. I've worked a lot of these game rooms in Collin County where I retired from. Had a lot of experience with them. And Not to say that there aren't good businesses and good folks that run these, but there are a lot of bad ones also. As we've heard, there's tax evasion, there's illegal gambling that comes along with them. There are wanted persons, there's drug activity. And I had a lot of dealings with them in Collin County, and we had prostitution warrants, we had drug paraphernalia, needles, and everything else in the machines that we removed. They were a little different machine back then than they are now with towers and that. But when you start moving things around, you find all kinds of narcotic paraphernalia, just a plethora of criminal activity, the warrants, stolen vehicles in the parking lot, people possessing and using drugs on the premises. Just a number of things in the criminal field seem to go with these businesses. And the same here, we've had counterfeit money that comes up a lot in these game rooms. And to be honest, it's real hard when we get a criminal or a crime in these businesses for them to give us video surveillance in the business to follow up on our investigation, because they don't want us to see that activity. Not all of them, but some of them don't want us to see the activity that's going on in their game rooms. So we've had robberies that turned out to be staged robberies. Some of them were real, but we've had staged robberies where we actually found out it was a made-up story and they were all in it together at one of our game rooms here. So just wanted the court to be aware of all the things that come along with these game rooms. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant, I appreciate it. Anybody further for this at this time?
What constitutes a neighborhood? Mike was the name.
I don't know if it's defined in there or not.
It's not defined, or defined neighborhood. I'd have to go back to, bear with me just a second. We have not defined neighborhood in this document, so good question on that. Neighborhood typically means subdivision, I believe.
Like Oakville Acres?
Your Honor, there is a definition in the transportation bill.
Correct. We could look at that for sure. You have it off the top of your head?
I think it's, there has to be so many houses within so many houses within a quarter mile stretch within a 100 feet.
I agree that it needs to be defined here. If we're going to use that term, we definitely need to define it in some form of fashion. Thank you. I think I fall in favor of putting the sticker on the computer itself, not on the screen, as opposed to not so much worried about the ready visibility for it, but the ability for people to switch machines in and out after we've looked at them. I think putting on the case of the machine would be probably the way to go on that one. That's just my 10 cents. Commissioner, your thoughts?
Were you closing the public hearing?
No.
We can't, yeah. There's no one else for public hearing?
I have one question.
Yes, Mr. Farr.
Are we gonna allow the cities to turn around and regulate game rooms, or is it all gonna be all county stuff?
I don't have control over what the municipalities can do. We only have the control over the unincorporated areas. Now, this order does seem to have some authority over cities.
It's countywide.
It does. But
However, there are municipal ordinances that game rooms may fall under that don't apply out in the county,
correct.
such as the fire codes and things like that.
Right.
The county doesn't have.
Well, I get that, but we've got some game room operators that are outside the city limits of Whitney that, there's like 3, 4 big houses and then a subdivision on the other side going out in that industrial park area.
We're regulating that in the unincorporated.
Okay.
We're also, these regulations will apply to game rooms inside of municipal limits, as Mr. Holmes has pointed out. But again, as he stated, there can be additional rules that the municipality can put on that we can't have, we don't have control over. So, any other questions?
Just getting back to the bingo halls distribute $500 in cash.
It's differentiated in state law.
So can we just go get a bingo license and be under their umbrella?
You're gonna want to talk to your attorney about that. I'm gonna refrain from any legal advice here. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Anybody else for open forum? For public hearing? If not, all right, at this time, let the record reflect it is 9:34 a.m. We're closing the public hearing, and we're going to move along to our next agenda item, which is discuss and approve the adopted county regulation. I think that these regulations are fairly complete, but we do need to define neighborhood. I think the definition of transportation that would be usable. Your thoughts on that, Counselor?
I think that if we're going to revise the base ordinance, that we're gonna have to repost and re-advertise and.
So we'll adopt as is today and make any changes we need to in the future.
Yes.
Commissioners, your thoughts on the gaming ordinances? We wrote these over a year ago. Myself and Mr. Holmes were working on this steadily. I know it's not the most popular thing in the world, but it's a real problem. You've heard from people like Mr. Flint that live up in the county. You've heard from our captain. You've heard from our lieutenant. These are real problems that exist, and we try to narrowly tailor these rules, not to put an overburden of government regulation on everybody. But at the same time, we've got crime. We've got some bad things these things draw into our community. And quite frankly, you heard some testimony today about illegal activity that's going on that people openly and clearly said. So I think this is necessary, and I warned them not to. Sorry, when you're the judge on that bench, you have to give people a Fifth Amendment admonishment that, hey, don't hose yourself.
How can they operate? I'm
So
blanking on this, but it's gambling, but it's not gambling.
it is gambling.
It is gambling.
It is gambling.
How can they operate?
Well, in my opinion, they can, if they're paying out cash.
Yeah.
Where state law makes exceptions are for the Chuck E. Cheese's of the world, the licensed bingo halls, which is regulated by the state. In my opinion, chapter 47 of the penal code, which is the gambling statutes, absolutely prohibits paying out cash if you're using a gambling device, which I believe these machines are.
They are the same.
And
then you got.
the Four Seasons gentleman's getting some bad legal advice on whether or not this is tax evasion.
It's a shame.
You see right there, I thought that was.
Well, I mean, I
Everybody else on the
thought
road? Zero.
when the sheriff looked at the wall, I started getting concerned. I'm like, it's No. Okay, so our ordinance basically follows state law, and it says what we can and can't do. We're limited in how much regulatory authority we have. We have low, so we're taking that authority we have, and instead of this stuff just being out there where it's happening, we can now say, no, we're going to regulate it. We're going to put it under these constraints. You're going to have to get approval from a county officer to have this, and we're going to be able to inspect your business on a regular basis. This gives us an administrative ability for, we don't always need warrants to go in somewhere. We don't have to have a suspicion of a bad act, some sort of probable cause to get in there. We can go, hey, no, it's administrative. We can go in and check it out, make sure you got your stickers. If we find something going on in the process, well, shame on you. That's how it works. This gives us the ability to get in and out of some of these places and keep a closer eye on them so that this kind of behavior you heard about today doesn't happen. These things do have an ability to exist under state law. There's just certain rules they have to live by. This, we're going to narrow those rules a little further and give ourselves a regulatory authority to go in and enforce those rules. That's it.
I would tell y'all that this industry or the software company that has their hand in every one of these game rooms around the state, they have teams of lawyers. Somehow they think they're able to call it a sweepstakes and they're able to pay cash. I think it's a crock. I do think we'll be challenged on that down the road. But I'm prepared to go down that road, so.
Anything after midnight, and nothing gonna happen good after that.
like the 10 o'clock hour personally, because we're not regulating bingo halls here, we're not regulating Catholic charities, we're regulating game rooms. It's different.
It's just a shame you have to have.
Well, I don't think we can shut it down totally. I
I
don't
know,
believe
I
we
mean,
have
it's
to.
just a shame you're out there.
Yeah,
The state has made visions.
Every now and then you'll see on Marina Bay that sheriff departments have confiscated gambling machines.
Mhm.
And
We
they,
have
we have quite a few.
we have them in streets right now.
A lot.
Well,
Yes, they have one.
they bring quite a bit of money.
We have a motion and a second to adopt an order, regulating game rooms in Bill
I
County,
think,
Texas.
I think if we're gonna make the changes that y'all are proposing, we're gonna need to repose.
Well, now, hold on, I'm not proposing any changes this time. I said,
Oh.
okay, so the neighborhood definition, I'll go with it as is today. If it comes up, we can repost it, make our changes to it. And the other thing was where the stickers are, it's not specifically addressed. I think that's an administrative matter the sheriff's office can come up with as to where they require the stickers. Last but not least, that 10 o'clock is what's stated in here when we post, and since we have to repost, I just assume do this today, and somebody shows good cause in the future why we should be open past 10 o'clock, well, then I'll obviously listen to it, but I don't know about that good cause, it's very long.
This was just a hearing.
No, that was a hearing, now it's time to adopt.
A hearing was brought up. but-
Yeah.
Adopt.
I don't understand how you can adopt it before you put all the changes in.
I'm not proposing any of those changes, it's just as is, yeah, as is, no changes. That's what I'm thinking.
10 o'clock.
What's that?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, yes, sir. 10 o'clock, 10 to 10. 12-hour window of operation, 50 machine limit,
Starting.
June, July 1st of this year. July 1st.
And I will tell y'all that, we put 2,500 feet in there, a lot of it in borrowing from other counties that have gone down this road before. The judge brought me Victoria counties, I also used Tarrant County quite a bit in getting this put together. A lot of the counties have 1,500 feet, we have it at 2,500, which is, almost half a mile. I don't know if y'all want to give them.
I like 2,500. Mr. Swinford, is 2,500 work for you?
That's outstanding.
I like it. I'll go with my attorney. All right, there's a motion and a second to adopt these orders as is. Is there any other discussion on this subject? If not, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Here are the two papers for your files on that. You don't want this copy of that draft over there. So this time pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 55171, the Bill County Commissioners Court will convene in the executive session regarding the consultations of our attorney pursuant to pending litigation. Nah, I'm not answering that. So, all right, at this time, we'll clear the courtroom, cut the microphones off, get a drink of coffee, and be back in here at the 9:50 hour with our executive session.